Don't wait till the night before Christmas to be good.
And in 3, 2, 1, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 91 of the Prehistoric podcast, part 3 in our fucking long-running 12 podcasts of Christmas. As always, well, this is the number 4 in the 12 podcasts of Christmas, I believe, number IV. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Francois the Nation.
I'm Andrew Source Claus.
I'm the Black Dahlia murderer.
Have you, researched that before? Have you ever, it's fucked up.
What? The what?
The Black Dahlia murder, have you ever looked it up?
No.
It's one of the earliest... It's weird to say this, actually, because it's obviously murders have been going on since time immemorial, but the Black Dahlia murder is one of the earliest fucked up murders that was documented. And so essentially it was correct me if I'm mistaken here, Brad, but essentially it was an actress who had never been anything big back in the 40s, I want to say. She they found her body, and it had been, her mouth had been cut open from ear to ear, and this is the 40s, ear to ear, been cut open. She had been split open, her belly had been split open, and her organs had been spilled out. A bunch of fucked up shit had been done to her body, essentially, and she had just been found on the beach, and she was totally naked. And I think she might have been raped. I'm not sure about the raping part. She might have been raped. Anyways, it was one of the first times that newspapers got onto the sensationalist, one of the first times that something so fucked up had happened to a body. So newspapers really got onto it, and a bunch of things got onto it, and it's super, super fucked up. And it was never solved. It was one of the first fucked up, unsolved,
what about Jack
great
the Ripper?
mysteries.
Had to be after Jack the Ripper.
Oh, way after. Jack the Ripper was 20s or something, yeah. So no, yeah, this is in America too, so this is one of the first big cases in America.
Yeah.
On that positive
But it was
note, on
very...
the
third podcast of Christmas, Resurrections drank for me 3 gin and juices.
3 gin and juices. That seemed
And we got
planned.
something special for Andrew.
Did we?
No, I just got gin and juice.
Just wanted to scare him?
You didn't scare me, not even a little bit.
He ain't scared.
I'm afraid no
He ain't
ghost.
scared. Hey, that's my juice. So for anyone who's never had this juice before, I can't recommend it enough. It's never sold out, which surprises me every time I go to Sobeys. This is Tropicana Tropics Orange Peach Mango. It might be the best juice I've ever had, honestly. Go to your local Sobeys, Safeway, or whatever grocery store you accept. They'll probably have it. It's absolutely delicious. I love it. My friend, my good buddy, buddy old pal, Amy, he also likes it a lot.
Armando
Iselenko, Armando. What's it boot? Oh, yeah.
So, not to be caught in copyright, but we could be sipping on gin and juice.
Play that.
That's too much,
juice. Got my mind on my money, on my money on my mind.
And we are flagged. That was our third flag, and we are no
We
longer
will no longer have a YouTube channel. Oh, I fucking hate gin.
Check us out on Prehistoric Productions. This is all I drink when I'm in Vegas. The one time I went.
Gin and juice.
You had a shower thought you wanted to start us off with, Fran.
Should I start it off with that?
Yeah.
Might as well, yeah.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 4
No.
not as good.
No. Alright, what do you guys think of this scenario? Alright, so we know that there is a pretty common, I wouldn't even call it a fetish. It's a pretty common escapist thing to watch pimple popping videos. It's an escapism thing, right? We've all agreed on that.
I can't say.
I don't know if it's escapism, but I'll give it to you. Go for it.
It's a pretty common thing. A lot of people like to watch pimple popping and that kind of thing. It's it gives them, it's a cathartic experience.
Okay,
it's there's a big online community that enjoys watching that content.
People like that. Yes.
They enjoy it. It's not just it's a lot of people.
It's some fucked up people.
Millions of people. Yeah.
So in that vein, pimples, they will appear like during puberty they appear like lots, right? Pimples appear in certain conditions, correct? There's certain conditions that pimples appear more than they appear in other conditions. Like if you eat lots of chocolate,
that's a myth, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain things you can do to make more. So I'm wondering, are there people that fetishize pimple popping so much that they will cultivate farms of pimples on themselves so they can enjoy the pimple popping experience? Because you can do certain shit to yourself to form pimples.
It's an interesting question, but
and I've never
If you got
heard
really
of it. I've
scientific-
never seen it before.
to a certain extent, though, a lot of it is just genetics. Like either you genetically are,
but that's what you
oily
doing nothing.
and-
That's what you doing nothing to help it.
But like,
You don't hear about people.
You can just
hear
clog
about,
your pores.
You
yeah.
hear about people.
you would have to live.
I'm just saying you hear about people trying to get rid of it, but you don't often hear about people trying to cultivate.
Because the people who are obsessed with it, like I wouldn't say I'm obsessed to the degree that some people are. Like I don't like look for like my friends to like.
Well, like you like watching videos.
I enjoy watching the videos, but there are people who are like really obsessed.
But
with
that's what I'm saying.
Doing it, but
Are there some people who fetishize it to the point where they
No,
would
I
be
mean-
willing to subject their own body
I-
to whatever it takes?
maybe, but,
Does anybody do it? Oh yeah, because if it's a thing, somebody
and
does it.
this is gonna get real.
Weird.
Not real weird, but this is why I started thinking about this. I shaved my balls recently, and like my whole pubis region, and I had
Armando.
I had one ingrown hair, and it kind of had like a little like ingrown.
Oh.
It had like a little pimple thing, and I popped it, and I'm like, I feel like I could replicate this scenario, and that's what I was thinking about. I was like, I feel like I could replicate a bad shave job. Like I feel
Force
like
it.
if I really tried, I could get my hair and maybe like slip it back in, and like if I was really
Yeah.
trying.
I hear what you're saying.
And so what I'm saying is like, and I know it's like, and I'm not somebody who like, and I enjoy the occasional pimple popping video, not as much as a lot of other people do, but it's just like, I have to believe that there are people that fetishize it like big time, like sexually. And so I gotta think, if you like it that much, would you be willing to
Right,
go
because-
through the length?
But
Obviously,
most of the lengths you'd have to take though is just like, you'd have to be willing to like, you'd see a spot starting and just ignore it. And if you actually like it that much, I doubt you'd have the self control to be like, I'm just gonna let this like blackhead grow for 20 years till it gets.
But that's
to the
what I'm saying.
size
Like
of
I'm
a nickel and-
saying the intellectual who understands. And
I mean,
is
I'm
like-
sure
and
there's
they play
someone,
they play
but-
the long game.
I'm just saying. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, are these interesting
Obvious-
outliers? Do they exist? Because we don't. The only reason I find this interesting is because I feel like we have talked about this a couple times, but we've never talked about maybe this crazy individual who like can you like because like I said, pimples appear under certain circumstances. Like there are conditions that make pimples.
if you
appear.
got very scientific with it, you could grow pimples.
So that's what I'm saying.
inside of it.
Are there people who cultivate pimples?
But like,
And
I
because
think-
they enjoy, they get the sexual or not even, maybe not even sexual, but just they get the satisfaction out of popping them so much.
like speaking for myself, who doesn't get sexual satisfaction.
Right, obviously,
out
if
of
you're
it,
watching it, you're sexually into it somewhat. If you're watching videos on the
sexually.
It
into it.
has to be sexual.
That's like saying like if you enjoy watching hockey, you're like
it's a little
sexually
sexual.
you're
yeah,
sexually into
it's a little
hockey.
sexual. And,
Like, I
Because
don't
Sidney
think
Crosby makes you like
yeah, like you're pushing and rubbing, and you're rubbing on the banister.
it
and
makes
you're
you
rubbing on
you
the-
don't know what's happening, but you're just like
From somebody who is
know.
into it sexually, under what from your perspective, I guess,
I can't speak from that perspective, so you'll have to.
the perspective of someone who doesn't enjoy it sexually.
Will you both admit that I brought up an interesting
Oh,
Yes,
certainly.
thing?
Yeah, very much.
Isn't that like, because I don't think I've never thought of that, of like cultivating pimples, because I've never thought of the perspective of like,
I mean,
you
most
can,
of it would just be in like incredibly poor hygiene, and I mean,
but
it's
directed poor hygiene is
But-
what I'm
but it-
saying.
but
Like
it's
you can be
hard
clean
to-
on every part of your body, but let's say like just your thigh. You're just like, I want to grow pimples on my thigh.
that's so hard
So
to,
you-
to
but-
be unclean on
But
one
that's
part of
what.
your body.
But that's
though.
what I'm saying.
It's not
though.
so hard if you're really trying.
Like
I mean, I
you,
guess
you
if you
wrap
wrap in
garbage
saran
bag.
wrap or
always-
something,
That's what
you
I'm
know,
talking
I mean,
about. Those people. I'm talking about somebody
Like
who's
people are
farming.
dedicating like
Sure.
12 to 18 hours a week.
Like they're farming. Like they're treating this like a career.
Yeah, I mean, it would also be.
But once again,
fucking
these people might not
dangerous.
even exist. But I'm
'Cause,
just
like,
saying, I
popping-
have to believe
you're
that they
lit- you're-
exist and they
you're-
have not been found
Like
yet.
you're literally popping infected blood out of your
Yes.
body. So it's it's like farming that like creating an abscess would be fucking dangerous.
But they get off on that a little bit.
I mean, there's people who are into like fucking. I heard of this story
But some
on
people
Reddit.
choke themselves in closets and then jack
And
off.
that's dangerous.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's dangerous. I mean, there's people who are into like garbage. And this one, I heard a story about a story of this girl who like put fucking maggots up inside her cunt and like.
You had to make that worse by using the C word. You sick fuck.
I did. Put maggots up inside of herself, and like she's like, yeah, I was like, for days they were there, and like, just like put garbage up there, and like, rolled around in the dumpster and masturbated, and like really got off on like the filth and whatever of it. Yeah.
It's just like.
See, my thing
is
it's not that selective breeding is super important or moral.
Parenting is important.
But above and beyond that, I think if we're talking right now like we are about selective breeding and isolating certain people from ever being able to breed again.
Now, here's an interesting thought also on the topic of breeding.
I think you guys are brushing over what I just brought. I think I just found a thing. I think I discovered a thing.
Where are you, pimple farmer?
Like, I think you guys are brushing over this discovery I just made.
I just don't know where else there is to go. It's like, do these people exist? Maybe.
But doesn't it fascinate you, the possibility of that?
I mean, I guess it's just,
I thought you for sure would be interested.
I just think the big one is that most people love, and like I myself,
like farming pimples. Doesn't that just be like, oh my god?
I just don't even know if it's how possible it is, because like,
but like
the really interesting ones.
To me,
are like,
it seems so possible because like I think about pimples like. If I do certain things, if I don't wash certain parts of my face, or if I leave certain things, it's like pimples will grow. If I shave,
I'm beautiful and like I'm so rare to grow.
You're way too hygienic. But I'm just saying, it's like if I shave not quite good enough, or like not if I don't pay enough attention, then maybe I'll have a pimple that pops up here. It's like there are conditions.
I mean,
that are
favorable.
These are the guys that
manipulate.
Oh my god, Andrew! I can't.
That's not a pimple. That's a
hair?
fucking like cyst or something.
It's a dilated pore whiner. It's a big blackhead.
I don't know what that means.
It's a big blackhead.
I'm so sick just from even seeing the idea of you showing me that.
My friend would like this.
I can't, Andrew. Please. It's
you get
so
to fucking make fun of me. You can sit here for a second and watch.
I'm not watching.
Enough. We get it.
This is the type of thing people want to see, and I don't know if you could farm this.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about. Farming, even.
No,
like,
Andrew, but
not even just that. I'm just talking about like creating an environment on like a part of your body that's so perfect for pimples to grow.
Okay.
So can you farm?
Let's take this to the next level.
Can you farm this?
I don't think you guys are giving me enough credit, honestly.
No. I'm gonna take this.
I honestly think that like I've thought of something that is crazy.
I think it's crazier. Farming pimples on captives.
Oh my goodness. That would be way easier. Because then you don't need to. Because then, well, you need to kidnap somebody. You need to keep them so that nobody knows where they are. But after like a year, and they're like, he's dead for sure.
Andrew, Jesus Christ, this will end this episode if you don't fucking turn that thing away from me.
You're the ones who brought this is the thing people.
No, but stop watching. Like we know, we've seen it.
Yes, I know what it is. These people are creating small lesions in their epidural layer, and
it's just a big blackhead. It's just a pore that keeps growing, and then you have to like.
I saw one the other day that fucked me. It was this old 6-year-old man, and he had pimples on his back.
Oh, and then I just thought of that goddamn
dog
with the maggots.
It looked like hills.
That's so different.
It looked like
bugs.
Hills on this guy's
The bugs
back.
are different.
Oh my god!
Like popping bugs out of people.
The bot flies are worse.
The bot fly and the dog has changed.
Bot flies.
Those are mango worms that you're talking about. I can't watch that. That makes me feel sick.
They're way worse.
The dogs, where it's like hundreds of them, and they're popping. I can't do it either. I can't.
My father told me about this, and it scares the hell out of me.
It's a problem in Africa, big time.
He says that whiteheads specifically, there's like a very minute chance, but whiteheads, they have a certain secretion inside of them that is like I don't know, poison or venom or toxin is the right word, but they do have a toxin inside of them, and popping them has the risk of when you pop them, it can break the lining that leads into your, and it can shoot a toxin back in your system, in your blood, and it's super rare.
You only really need to worry about the danger triangle around your mouth because the blood vessels around your mouth, like where the danger triangle is, that's where the real risk is.
Can make a lot of damage
because of the blood vessels that are there, and the risk is still very low. But popping stuff in there can lead to that. Like on your leg, it's virtually impossible.
Exactly, and even on your face, it's
still very low.
The chance is so low, but just for everybody to know, apparently in whiteheads more than blackheads, but there is a toxin in like that fucking because it is just like
goop. It's
goop. It's pus and it's shit.
Infected blood.
There's a toxin in there.
Blood cells, yeah.
So like when you press a pimple, if you just think about it logically, it's like you're pressing a pocket of shit that shoots out. But there's a chance that when you're pressing it, that you break the skin inside of your body and it shoots it back in. And there's a certain toxin apparently that can like lead to like cardiac arrest and like death apparently. And like it's super rare. Like it's like apparently it's like 99.9999. It's like it never happens. But I remember my dad was just like, yeah, there's like a minute chance that happening. I'm like, that's fucked up. Like why wasn't that a thing that everybody knows about?
Andrew, if you were pulling up the botfly dog or the mango worm dog.
I don't even like that.
Okay, I want to talk more about the scenario of kidnapping people and then making them. You know what? Actually, because you didn't watch it, but something that's similar. Recently, for all you fans of Silence of the Lambs, there was a show called Hannibal that was incredible, and I recommend that anybody who enjoys like good writing, violence, and that kind of crap, to watch Hannibal because it's a very good show. But there was, I think it was season 2, where there was a murderer, and what he would do is he would kill people, and then he would sit them in places that were very high in fungal content, and he would use their bodies to grow fungus that he would then use.
He wouldn't kill them. He put them in a diabetic coma.
Oh, and then the fungus would grow on them.
Fungus would grow out of them while they're in the sugar.
And then he would use the fungus in the foods that he would eat, and he would invite dinner. He was very similar to Hannibal. It wasn't Hannibal.
Did you know the guy who was on that episode is actually like one of the leading experts in
that's so creepy.
fungi.
But,
he was on the Joe Rogan Experience. Incredible podcast.
But yeah, so he would have these people in diabetic comas, grow fungus on them, and then he would cut the fungus off, and then he would use the fungus in his foods, and he would invite people over to eat these fungus grown on human bodies. So that's very similar to what you just stated. Yeah.
Using people to farm pimples
is so fucked up.
So you could pop them?
Yeah.
Well, that's like in mine. I feel like it makes more sense because like it's way easier to use yourself just for the catharsis of popping your own pimples. Like
with those people,
but kidnapping somebing else and
all you would have to do is like
that's a lot of work to just get that.
All you would have to do
popping.
is like it depends on what you want. Like, I like if you just want like a big pus explosion, just like put little cuts and like let them get infected and form a big abscess, and then come and lance the abscess and
we should make a movie. Like it's a fucked up movie with Darren Aronofsky. No, that's funny.
Requiem for a Dream.
Like a Requiem for a Dream type movie where a guy is like he loves watching. Man, I think that's a good idea, honestly. Like I'm not even joking.
There'd be a built-in audience.
I think it's a good idea.
There's probably a built-in audience.
We know there are people who like watching pimple popping and cyst popping and all that shit. Like we know that's a pretty common thing. So like a guy who gets so into that universe that he's like, I wonder if I can do it so I can like, and he like enjoys it so much, and then like one day he's like, this hurts too much, it's damaging myself so much.
And it's like I can't get enough growing. Like
that's the thing is like, and he wants is like he has to be able to go out and about. So it's like he kidnaps somebody and then he starts doing with them. Dude, I think that's that is a fascinating movie.
Between Human Centipede and
not as fucked up as Human Centipede.
Well, but like the same kind of tone.
More interesting.
And more interesting.
And
not as
are you guys
egregious.
like are we talking like you're farming them, like you have them strapped down and like essentially they're atrophied? No, they're awake.
Like they can see?
Yeah, because
you have them strapped down maybe. It's just like
yeah, it's like you feed them because you can't just pump blood in them. You gotta be feeding them greasy, shitty food.
They're strapped by their neck and they have a tube.
Like
they're awake 24/7. Just
like as soon as
you have maybe a children's pop-up book right here.
You're just pumping vitamins and gravy.
Like, now you're describing someone who likes pimples, who also loves like keeping people captive and torturing them at the same time. It's like I like pimples, but
it's like it's gonna be about a guy who likes pimples, but also like a Serbian film.
No, my whole thing is that he doesn't love capturing people. For him, it's very scientific. It's like, what is the easiest way to do this? To keep this person alive and to just, it's like...
That would be like the
total
first
psychopath.
That would be like the first Human Centipede movie then.
Or you could
it's
kinda,
like, it's not about
you could kind of flip it and like have it be like all.
I
this,
like the idea
all
of him
these,
like the person's not in pain at all. Like they're using them solely for the purpose of cultivation. Like I like that.
Maybe it's like the
because like then it's like okay, I get it, but it's like if they're awake and they're like then it's like this is fucked. This is fucked.
Yeah.
But you don't make as good a movie if they're just a vessel. Like that.
No, but I think it could be more interesting because it's like I don't like that's the thing is like Human Centipede. A lot of people
Where's the thrill? It's like
but that's
now
what
that
I'm
I have
saying,
them
though,
locked up and they're
a lot of people. But that's what I'm saying. You got to think beyond that. But I'm just saying like a lot of people disregard the Human Centipede because of it's so egregiously like it's like this is so fucked up. Like this is obviously not just because it's like an interesting concept. Like this is like
shock.
Yeah, this is like people are starting to beat off to this. Like this is too fucked up, and like that's just Human Centipede 1. That's not even talking about the second or the third one. So I mean, that's the thing is like you got to think about a concept that's very frightening.
Maybe there's a twist.
But
it's
not.
It's not.
Yeah, you have to. Like it's not.
You guys both have trypopophobia, yeah?
No, I wouldn't say I do. I think Brad is way more because I also. Not as much as you do or my friend.
I like to do it on myself.
Not as much.
I love popping my own.
And I like doing it on other people too. But like, and I will watch the occasional pimple popping video, but it's like not to the point where I do it so much that it starts showing up in my recommended things.
Yeah, and it's like I'm never.
Like I don't like.
I don't like that. I don't like sunflowers.
That's trypopophobia.
I don't like sunflowers.
I don't like holes.
I don't like sunflowers that don't have seeds in the head like that. Like, I tried to
harvest... But that's not like... It's just kind of uncomfortable. Like, it's not like...
No, for me, it's like, I can't harvest sunflowers from sunflowers, the seeds from a sunflower, because the fact of, like, taking something that was in its place and then creating a cavity...
What about that?
That actually... That for me is not as bad as a sunflower.
I don't like that. That one upsets me.
For me...
That one upsets me because it's like, it's so unnatural. Those holes, like, in real life would be diseased immediately. And like shit would grow in there,
see,
and like
that's where you and I differ.
Without shit in it, that's so unnatural.
For you and I, the difference thing is like when I see a hole that I can't see a thing fitting in, it's all right. But for me, it's like when a worm makes a hole, it's like there was a thing in that hole, and then that thing was removed. And
I also don't like that.
Like that?
Like I don't like that.
I don't like groupings.
That upsets me.
Like the literally
honeycombs, I'm okay with, but they upset me a little bit.
You guys,
a little bit.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I don't like
that. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that.
Here's one thing that I think would drive you nuts. It kind of drove me nuts. It's this guy who's like, yeah, we're gonna check out this beehive, and this is really relevant for me because our neighbors in Moose Jaw have like this little hole where just like a couple wasps go in and out.
And they're just okay with it.
I don't love honeycombs, no.
See that like?
Okay, hold on. You have to hear this. Is incredible.
I know that's very natural, so it bothers me less.
So this guy's like, this is a not an abandoned property, but just a property that people own and they haven't been around to renovate it and they haven't decided what they're going to do with it yet. And so they go by this air conditioning unit and there's this little hole and there's like bees coming in and out. And he's like, did you know that when you see bees, you count for a minute how many bees come in and out? And that's 1% of the bees inside the wall. And then he goes inside the building and they've literally taken like, it would be like a whole wall from roof to ceiling, and then like probably 8 feet around is all honeycomb behind the drywall. And then the honeycomb has become so much that there's like this huge dried, hardened honey on the outside. And he just walks up and starts eating it. He's like, yeah, this is it. And then like...
My dad did that too.
And they keep cutting the drywall, pulling these bees out, and it's just like...
That's one thing that like... I don't even know if it's the generation, because like I don't know if, like South Africans and Canadians, I don't know if they're the same. But it's like one thing my dad did that I was like, this is fucked what you're doing. Was like, I remember when I was super small, my dad would find, he would find, it wasn't even just like honeycombs or like that kind of shit or like wasp nests. Like he would find these specific, he knew that there were specific trees that bled in a certain way that he would like.
Just walk up and eat stuff off them?
Sap. He'd be like, and it would be a specific part of the tree. He'd be like, at the very top where it parts here, like you
And you can eat
snaps,
this.
and then he's like he had what looked like a I don't even know what it's like a I don't know, but like a hard piece of sap it would look like, and then he would just chew on it and be like, yeah, this is like we do this all the time. It's like, do we do this or do you do this? Like I don't know, but he did it with honey and stuff too, and it was like, is this just a thing that his generation of kids in Africa did, and it was all good? Because like I don't like it. It's not fun for me.
I would do. Now, but for me, like we're friends when we've talked about this. What do you call it? Trifucophobia?
Trifucophobia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Triclitophobia?
No, I like trifucophobia.
Tripopophobia. Now, for me, like the quintessence of that fear is that video. Like I can't imagine.
Oh, like that skin being pulled out?
No. The
mango worms.
The mango worms of the dog. Like I can't think of something else I would rather not watch.
What about have you seen? Do you know what jiggers are? Have you seen those?
Sounds like a.
Can I show you a few seconds of it or no?
No.
Just
Like,
explain to me what it is
explain
first.
it. Like I don't.
I'm not going headlong into a thing you haven't yet described.
Especially when you say, "Can I show it to you?" It's
Yeah,
like
it's
like when I say,
it's
"Hey,
fucked.
do you want to see Harlequin type ichthyosis?" It's like, I don't know what that is. It's gonna
I
ruin
admit
you.
that I have
It's
some.
gonna ruin you.
There's some pleasure I get from watching really fucked up stuff, regardless of what it is. There's like a roulette. It's like, ooh, can I handle this? And it's like, when I can't, it sucks. And when
Certain
I can,
things
it's
upset
like,
me.
yeah, it does. Like sometimes you're upset. Sometimes you're like, wow, that was fucked
How
up.
many minutes of the botfly video could you watch, or the mango worm video?
I mean, I could watch the whole thing. I wouldn't want to.
I
Like,
can't. Like I can't watch it all.
I could.
Like
The thing with the botflies is, once again, a big thing with me is natural. And I know at the end of the day that
here's
botflies
what fun
are
thing we're
natural.
gonna do to make this podcast different.
I don't want to watch botflies.
You said you could.
I said I could.
So we're gonna show the audience what your reaction
No,
is.
I don't want to watch it, Brad. Stop.
no, Brad, I got something better. Here we go.
No. I hate where this went.
I can't. Like I can't. The screenshot.
It just look.
We're
I've
gonna.
seen this already. I think.
Is it doing it already?
No, not yet. Saying I'll tell
Oh,
you.
and it's such a nice goddamn dog.
It's so fucked up though. Like it's got like it's.
Andrew, watch.
It's
I've seen it. I don't
its
really wanna
fur is
watch it.
falling off because it's so fucked
Yeah,
up.
like I don't like I
Stop.
can like I.
Brad, stop! What are you doing? Oh, there, it's already happening.
Yeah, they're
It's
pulling
so bad
worms
when
out,
its ears are rotting.
Usually on the body, there's more
There it
space
is.
to
Its back is so fucked. You can't even show me. You hate it so much.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
It's fucked up when things are living off another thing.
Oh, and it's totally non-symbiotic. The dog is not good.
The dog has no idea.
Like things eat kelp and shit off other stuff, and it's good.
What's this now? Oh, is this Africa?
I don't know what
Yeah,
it is yet. I don't
they're
know.
sand fleas that bury into your skin,
I hate Africa.
and they have to like cut the callous skin over top and pull these little fucking things off.
We should. All three of us should go to the middle of the Congo to see what the shit is. Because we talk about fucked up shit all the time, but it's like we should all go into the middle of the Congo and just for like 2 days be like, this is what.
Holy fuck!
this,
The small.
This is
holes.
what the shit is. And we,
Oh my fuck!
we would
Look,
see.
look.
We would see.
I didn't. I hate that I could have gone without knowing you. I very well could have gone through my whole life not even realizing that I didn't like small holes and stuff. You're the reason I even knew. Like I've only found out I hate this shit in the last 18 months.
Sorry.
I guess the mango worm video was bound to become a thing in social media.
Like we should take a company trip to the middle of the Congo.
No.
And then we can all understand what it is to have a child kidnapped at 6 years old and put in the military. We can all understand what it's like to lose a 4-year-old to Ebola. Like, we can see the most fucked up...
And why are there different types, so many different types of flies?
We can see how fucked up life can get in 2 days.
It makes seeing,
And then we can leave.
Seeing shit like that from like all these warm comments, it's like, I will take 6 months of winter 10 times out of 10.
I would
over all
honestly
that.
take AIDS over winter. And, like, death AIDS. Like AIDS... Like, I'm gonna die in 2 months. Like, it's like, I can take 6 months of winter, or I can die in 2 months. I'll die in 2 months, because I hate this fucking season so fucking much!
I don't appreciate the season as it exists. I appreciate what it does, in that...
It makes this country very safe.
It makes people better. You know where all the douchebags
There's no
live?
dangerous animals. There's no dangerous anything.
You know where all the douchebags live? third world countries notwithstanding, fucking all those places where
Alberta.
all those places where they don't have winter.
Yeah.
Like I'd take even Alberta people
Except
over
for
like
Alberta.
LA.
No, you wouldn't.
Most part.
You would not.
Yeah.
Nope. The moment you hear a guy say, "I'm gonna lynch that fucking black guy,"
Yeah, but that's not.
then
like,
it's like.
That's an outlier in Alberta.
Well, I'm saying, but the that's the same with the outliers in LA. I think it's like the outliers in LA are gonna be like, "I want to do heroin," but it's like,
right,
I'd rather hang out with the guy who wants to do heroin than the guy who wants to kill black people.
I think the non-outliers in LA are like, did you just make that gesture at me? That's a fucking microaggression, you piece of shit.
I'd rather go with a microaggression.
Yeah, but I
guy than
also
somebody
like-
who wants to kill a black guy.
we always like joke about like Alberta being the 54th state of the U.S. and like
It's still
it's
not
such a
as bad.
small outlier. Like even people who we think are really racist, when
Yeah,
presented.
but I know people in Saskatchewan.
No, but that's the thing. They're not. They're soft racist. Like I'm racist, and then when you put them in a situation where it's like,
Oh, when you
hey,
give them a gun and you're like, shoot this
you
black
shoot
guy.
the black guy, it's like absolutely not. I love black people.
All right.
But you give a guy like way down in the swamps of Louisiana, it's like
Oh, in Louisiana, they don't give a damn. It's like yes.
it's like I brought my own gun and my own black guy to kill.
What was that thing?
Not that I could judge everyone in Louisiana.
What was that thing you tagged us in where
They're
it's
probably
like,
great people in Louisiana.
it was like use a Kinder egg thing for a thing. It's like, oh, Kinder eggs are illegal here. Can I use a semi-automatic rifle?
Yeah,
You
I
get
tagged
those
under
everywhere.
this thing. It's like,
Store
It's
your
like-
fake
yeah,
eyelashes.
So I
Yours-
think you put
I
that
put
on
you
in our Facebook chat.
Oh,
no, I just tagged both of you in it.
Because I saw it.
Anyway, for the audience out there, it was like a little meme thing. And this woman's like, quick beauty tip. If you want to store your fake eyelash without getting them wrecked, put them in a Kinder Egg. And then this fashion person from the U.S. comments, Kinder Eggs are illegal here. Will a semi-automatic rifle do the same?
I can get those.
That's
Get
right
them
like-
at
easily.
Walmart.
That amazing fucking like joke article where it was like, I can make hidden weapons. And the guy's like, hey, here's a pop can hidden as a knife. And it's just like a pop can taped to a combat knife. And he's like, hey, here's a hair comb.
With
That's
a
an
gun.
AK-47. It's just a hair comb taped to an AK-47. It's,
Oh, it's like that
and
guy
like
who
he does,
trolls.
it's like so good.
It's like,
Like
I think it's
Kleenex
called.
box with a
Yeah.
hand.
It's like don't even reply. And he's like He's like has this ad for.
The guy's like, we're
yeah.
not interested. He's like, oh, but
But
you
wait,
be
what about
interested.
what about my book gun? And it's just like like they get more and more ridiculous, and then gradually it's just like it's literally like an AK-47 with a book,
Like
just
a-
like
Yeah.
in between the pages of a book.
Yeah, the first
Honestly.
ones are like actually kind of a concealed gun.
Like,
Like a
okay,
But
pellet
still
gun.
like
lame.
you never fall for it.
Yeah.
No, it's
They're
like
very
it's just like a pistol handle sitting, coming out of a cardboard or a
Concealed.
Kleenex box. It's like
Yeah, the best ones are the ones that it's like it's a hair comb, but actually it's an AK-47.
just like taped to the side of it.
So you guys thought that my scenario wouldn't last very long.
I just didn't know because I didn't know what the scenario was.
It was a good scenario, all right.
Oh, it's a wonderful scenario. I think that it's definitely interesting.
And I was fascinated by it. Like, it was very difficult for me to not put it in the Facebook chat because I'm like, this would be better for the podcast. Like, I was thinking about it all day. It was really grinding on me.
Because, like, I mean, what do? I mean, if you're doing it on yourself, I guess you find...
That's what fascinates me more is the potential of someone who likes it so much that they sort of segregate one part of their body to try to cultivate pimples, which I think is totally a thing you could do if you tried.
I mean, pimples.
Because no one tries.
I don't know.
Well, nobody I know tries, but it's like I just...
Yeah, if you just had really poor hygiene, like there's I'm sure there's ways. I don't know enough about exactly what causes. I know like a big part of. I don't know about blackheads. I know what pimples. A big part of it is just straight up genetics, and like either you get them or you don't after a certain age, and like
If you never got them, you'd probably never be inclined. But like if you were somebody who
most people
had
get them occasionally.
one good fucking pimple, and you were like, like I said, this all came out of me having like one ingrown hair on my balls that I was just like, I could replicate ingrown hairs.
The worst pimples to get ever are the ones right
on the edge of the
on the edge of the lip, and right if you get them
Is
on
that
the
the
inside
Yeah,
of your
these
nostril.
suck. These
the
fucking
danger
suck.
zone.
Yeah, those would be the danger zone. Yeah.
So what do you put the danger triangle?
Anything
Yeah, it's like
here, this sucks. This all hurts way too much.
I get the only time I ever really get them is right on the bridge of my.
That also sucks. Anything on your lip just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I love pounding a good one out of my nose. Like, I'll pound a heavy one out of my
What do you mean?
nose.
Inside your nose?
No, like on here. And just like,
Oh, that's not too. That's not.
I just love pounding them out.
I love finding a good one like somewhere that I wasn't looking forever. Like finding one that's like on your earlobe. It's like, yeah, you fucking motherfucker.
The worst for me, like I even though I like pimple popping, no matter what I do, I get these fucking terrible pimples on my scalp, and they're so fucking painful.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
The only outlier I've ever gotten, not directly on my face, is I got one on my thigh once. That's the only time I've ever had a body pimple.
I think I've had one or two on my thigh.
I had one once.
My earlobe ones are weird. I've always noticed when I have those. I'm trying to think. Ass ones are weird because you never look at your ass, and it's very difficult for you to get to your ass. So like, if I ever have one on my ass, it's weird. I'm trying to think. I think I've had one like right around my asshole before too.
That would be a hemorrhoid.
And hands down, no, it wasn't hemorrhoid. It wasn't hemorrhoid. No, because I've had hemorrhoids. No, this is different. This is different. And I think I've had one pimple around my asshole, and it was just like so. Because once again, it's not an area you ever, even when you're washing, like it's not really an area you brush. And I think it was just like it got to a point where it was painful.
You don't wash your asshole?
No, I do.
He's not examining. He's saying.
No, I'm just saying it's like you don't stick. You don't do this. You don't do one of these.
No.
So I'm just saying it's like it's around that little like that half-inch sort of area where you're not really going like you wash your asshole, but you don't. There's that little area that maybe you're not really examining as much. And I can remember one time having a pimple around there. That was a pretty good one. And ever since then, it's like she gets a good scrub from now on. And I'm trying to think. Earlobes, asshole. I don't think I've ever had one on my feet anywhere, or if that's possible. I don't know if that is.
Can you do feet? I don't know.
Well, your whole body has pores, so technically, I think the bottom of your feet would probably be impossible, but top of your feet would probably be possible. Balls is a big one. Like, especially like underneath like your balls, like taint area.
I've never.
Never?
Never.
I think that's happened to me once.
I had just one on my thigh. That literally everything else happens. Nose, sometimes here, and then I'll get the occasional cheek.
And I'm with you for the most part. Like these areas they're not regular. Like it's outlines.
Like you're regularly getting pimples on your taint and your ass.
It's mostly I've never had pimples on my face or anywhere else. Just 16 or 17 at a time on my taint. It's like I go.
It's like their genital warts.
And then I go.
It's like their genital warts, and you don't wash your underwear ever.
No, I've never taken my underwear
off.
Well, not for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
I can't
like everybody else, right? So
we talked before about like why toilet paper isn't as good as bidets, and there's this video. I did not agree with that conversation. And it's funny I say this because like I'm mostly joking because I've never actually used a bidet before, but they talk about it on fucking Joe Rogan. Got a new studio and he has one of those Japanese toilets. He talks about it every other episode, and then they talk about it on Your Mom's House all the time. And it's this video. It's like definitive proof that toilet paper isn't as good as water, and it's like someone washing dishes with like brown sauce all over them, and it's like wiping with toilet paper, and it's like there's still a bunch of residue with water. It all gets washed off, and then same thing with a hand. Like they do, it's like bowl, plate, hand, and then it's like wipe it with toilet paper. Still residue. Wipe it with water. Wash it. Water spray. It's all gone.
Yeah.
So point being, think about it.
I'm the idea of a bidet doesn't scare me. It's not a fear thing.
I mean, the thing for me is I always try to go shit to shower if I can.
I do definitely.
That's the opposite. You go, take a nice shit,
clean yourself,
and then shower, and then really clean yourself, and then you're good to go for the day, as much as possible. Yeah, that's the ideal.
I did something that I was pointed out probably has never happened before. I went for lunch several weeks ago in the Chinese restaurant in Cabri, and I took a shit in the bathroom.
No.
And I don't think anybody's ever done that. Ever.
You might be correct.
Nobody has. Nobody has, including the
It's never
patrons.
been inside there. It's never been walked inside.
Was it gross?
It's not gross. It's outdated.
It's more like, imagine a bathroom that was built and then no one went inside of it for 40 years.
And it was originally designed for a POW camp.
Okay.
Like a Soviet era.
I think I
public
can. I
bathroom.
think I can get there.
Like a 60s Soviet era public bathroom
In a POW camp.
in a PFW camp.
So
Wow, that wouldn't be that bad.
it's not bad, yeah.
No.
Anyway,
That would be like. It's not
like
even
I
a
went,
toilet seat at that
and I
point.
was obviously in there longer
Like
than
it
it
still
would
had
take
a
to urinate.
porcelain bowl and a plastic seat and like that.
Did they
kind of
say
shit.
like you take a pool?
No, I went anyway.
No, they're way
like
too
I
shy.
was walking out and I was with Swade and Logan, and they both were like immediately like, I can't believe, like, only you
Would take a shit in there.
Of course you took a shit in the bathroom at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Swade totally would.
Oh, Swade would have. I can't believe he has.
I don't. I try not to shit anywhere that's not my own toilet as much as I can.
I think everyone tries not to.
But like, I mean, like I really try. Like I used to not be able to.
Right.
Until Luther.
I love Subways for that reason because they usually have
Like restaurants.
one person
Like Subway sandwiches.
single bat. No. What?
Like Subway, like the restaurant Subway, or like
Yeah,
Subway?
like not underground transportation.
No, that would be very variable. No, the restaurant Subway or the fast food place Subway. Usually, I would say like probably 80% of the time,
Has the
they
single
have
person.
just a single person bathroom for female and male. They have one for female, they have one for male, and there's just one.
Just does the
Toilet
word
and-
restaurant encompass fast food joints? I think they
Fast food restaurant.
if you see a new ad for they'll say a new McDonald's restaurant is opening.
Yeah, but that's
Restaurant
just
means
semantics.
restaurant means place that serves food.
Yeah, like I'm gonna
Prepared food.
So
I mean, like a convenience store serves food, but they're not a restaurant.
Or are they?
No,
Because some of these do
7-Eleven is a little bit of a restaurant.
they're concession. Like they provide primarily unprepared, like packaged food.
Yeah, pre-cooked.
Yeah, whereas like McDonald's,
All they're doing is
McDonald's-
warming it. They're
McDonald's
not
has
making
no unprepared food. Like it's all prepared.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a good distinction. Anywhere that prepares anything that's not prepared is not a restaurant. Anywhere that
Well, no,
prepares-
McDonald's prepares it still.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, you are saying.
Anywhere that prepares their food, if everything on their menu is prepared, it's a restaurant. If anything on their menu is not prepared, it's not a restaurant.
Okay.
So that's why I would say like
We're gonna-
McDonald's, Subway, that's restaurant. 7-Eleven is not a restaurant.
Question of the day: is 7-Eleven a restaurant?
You would probably make the argument.
We're gonna find out what the Webster's
Is a Cheeto? Like, we already talked about this. What defines a chip?
And I have said my
A
part
place where
very
people
clearly.
pay to sit and eat meals that are cooked and served on the premises.
So 7-Eleven could count because you can sit there and cook. Eat
Can you
food.
sit?
Yeah,
I've
dude,
never
go
seen
to-
Town you
Go
can.
to Rosetown, buddy.
Yeah, they've got tables and you could sit.
Not at every 7-Eleven, but
It's
that's
the food's
that
not-
thing.
What did it say? Is it?
You can get a fucking pizza at
Yeah.
Rosetown, and
But they're
sit
not
down.
cooked. They're warmed. Nothing is cooked at that place.
Yeah.
No, but they
What
say
is your
heated
opinion
up.
on
The
It's all
cooking?
taquitos
heated.
are not ready. Yeah,
Yeah, but then I would say the same thing about McDonald's. A lot of the stuff is not cooked; it's just warm.
Yeah, but they cook the meat. Like they don't have pre-cooked meat. All the meat gets cooked. It is.
I don't know.
It's
They're-
frozen patties that are grilled.
Yeah.
There's a difference between grilling something and like grilling frozen food and like deep frying and like
true.
putting it
There's
in a warmer.
There's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Like you could eat it cold with no fear of getting sick.
well, some fears.
Some fear of getting less fear.
Less fear.
Anytime you eat at 7-Eleven, there is some fear that you will be getting sick.
I'm just saying, like, if you eat
Regardless.
it,
The chili
like,
cheese dogs
you
are
eat
great.
it, you say I went to McDonald's, people are probably gonna bat an eye. You say I ate at 7-Eleven, people are gonna be like,
That's true. Yeah. Where did you guys go for supper? 7-Eleven.
like I really like going to 7-Eleven eating chili cheese dogs, but
For
I've never ran into anybody who wasn't like.
Also, have
Never.
you ever said
No one has ever been like, oh, that's good.
It's
that
like,
you do
hey,
that.
Fran, have you had supper yet? Yeah, I already went to 7-Eleven.
No one has ever said, oh, okay. No one has ever said.
Or like,
that.
do you want to go
They-
to 7-Eleven and grab something?
They usually say, or
Like it, yeah, just not.
I love chili cheese dogs from 7-Eleven. I do. I love them.
Okay. Here is the question of the day. 7-Eleven or Max? Which is the better convenience?
7-Eleven.
I prefer Max. I'm not a big Slurpee guy. And I find that Max typically has better variety.
I will say right now, restaurant to restaurant, there are Macs that I think are just as bad as 7-Eleven. But on the whole, preparation H, I find that the Max is a little more, the infrastructure's a little nicer. Everything's a little bit
It looks
cleaner.
nicer, right? Yeah, that's exactly
7-Eleven's like downtown Detroit, caged walls. We don't give a damn. The Slurpee machines are all water. We've got lots of cigarettes. Max is more like...
It seems like they take more pride in their appearance. Yeah.
You disagree. I'm not saying that...
I'm going to say as a connoisseur of fast food restaurants, which these two are not.
You do have a gutter
If
palate.
you have a choice between Max and 7-Eleven, go to 7-Eleven's. You'll find a much wider selection, a much better selection, much better tasting selection
of hepatitis
at
C.
7-Eleven. Ooh, Max. Yikes.
You don't like Max?
I love
No, it's not that I don't
Licorice
like Max. It's like comparing the two is apples.
I'm not
The
exclusive.
two, like 7-Eleven is better.
I'm not
in every way. 7-Eleven is better. Like their food, like their dogs, their like all.
I'm not
But
exclusive.
that's not what I'm saying. It's like everything there is better. Their selection of like chips and everything is usually better. Everything. I've never been to a Max that I'm like, oh my god, this is better than the 7-Eleven. Every time I go to a Max, I'm like, I wish I was at a 7-Eleven
Really?
because I know that 7-Elevens would have this and the Max doesn't have this.
I much prefer the Max over the 7-Eleven.
And there seems to be a Max size for 7-Eleven.
Except for Joker. That's the only thing that at Max that I found at 7-Eleven. I've never seen at 7-Elevens.
So 7-Eleven tends to be like X square footage. Like they're pretty much all the same size. Max very low. Like the Max on Central is garbage. There's a Max by the University of Regina.
And I had to be fair, when I was in college, the closest convenience store to me, which was like a 2-minute walk, was a Max.
Oh, what?
So that was the one I went to usually. So that, just to give you a little, for 2 years, the one that I went to usually was a Max.
I guess
it's called La Couche-Tard
La Couche-Tard
in French Canada.
I was in the West Coast.
I'm just saying.
It's a Canadian company, I believe.
It is,
originally Canadian.
Max. And it's
Nothing
called,
is Canadian anymore.
Do you know what La Couche-Tard? It's like Up All Night.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how they get Max out of Up All Night because it's a little owl, I guess. But.
Yeah, he's up all night.
The owl. I like the owl. I like the logo. I like the logo a lot.
Now, I guess the thing with 7-Eleven is it has like a... It does, you have to admit, it has a greasier feel.
Oh, big time.
And like they all have that same white-brown tile.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But they're like the nicest Max I've ever been in, right by the University of Regina, and like it's big, like it's a
usually the ones that have a Subway in them are especially like big.
And the one by us and in were you at the one in Moose Show when you were there?
Oh yeah,
Subway in it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I also find that Max has more like, like frozen lemonade dispensers and for real milkshake machines and hot chocolate coffee machines and all that kind of stuff. 7-Eleven, like you said, you really know what you're getting.
You ain't getting none of that.
You're getting warm diarrhea in a carafe.
You ain't getting none lemonade. You ain't getting none for real milkshakes or whatever the fuck you just said. That ain't a thing.
You sounded like...
menu.
I know you're not that drunk, but when you said that, you sounded like you were so fucking wasted.
I might be very
Just that one sentence though, right, Brad? Like, you ain't getting none of the real milkshakes and none of the frozen lemonade.
It's so good that we don't do episode 1 to 12 in one day.
Thank God.
It's not physically doable.
It's not doable. We would be dead.
140 drinks.
Not we.
Times
I would be
2.
Dead.
Yeah.
I would be dead.
Assuming we could get guests to do it in one day.
No, I gotta say, like, the things that we are looking for, I guess,
When we go to a convenience store,
are completely different.
Yeah, like
Because
I'm
a
looking...
7-Eleven and a Mac are not comparable.
Okay, here's my other question then. I would compare 7-Eleven to late 90s, early 2000s McDonald's before the rebrand and the revamp Do you like the new McDonald's or do you prefer like the old?
Oh, I like the new McDonald's way more like the old McDonald's.
You don't like the old pink and turquoise chairs and shit?
I hate that.
But that's more the 7-Eleven, and
I
Max
don't
is more
think
the
so.
new McDonald's.
No, I like.
Like with wood and like they're
no,
trying like
no.
wood and
I
leather.
don't like. If you're trying to say that Max looks any more modern than 7-Eleven, then I think that's not true.
It absolutely is true.
100%.
It's 100% true. They're a lot
nicer,
classier.
more modern.
Yeah.
All right, they believe that it looks more modern. I would say, once again, I just went to it every night for 2 years. But
One store.
Yeah, but one. You
yeah, sure. I just went to one Max for 2 years straight, every night. But I would disagree,
exclusively
and
shopped at Max all over the country,
I would. He only shopped at Max. That's true.
He
only shopped at Max for the last 4 years. That's the
No.
only shop he's ever been at.
20 years.
For the last 20 years, he has only went to Max exclusively for the last 20 years, which is true, which is accurate. It's accurate. You've only been to Max, so it's
On
true.
my road
in
trips.
that sense, he does have more.
son of a
It's
bitch.
that sense. He does have more of a right to say that than me. But I will say that in that 2 years that I went to Mac, not the 20 years that Andrew went, but the 2 years that I went.
Yes, 20 years. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's what you said.
I said-
that's what you said. Say yes.
Okay, let's
That's what you
get
said.
let's get through
It's
this.
not. Just finish your garbage nonsense and then we'll move on.
Andrew went for 20 years, and I went for 2. I will say that there is no difference in terms of actual quality of service or the actual the actual building. There's no difference in like the like they said, the Max does not have wood. Like, find me one Max that has any wood in it, and I will pay you
Full wood.
no money. But find me a Max that has full wood, a single Max that is full wood.
Faux? Like false wood?
Any wood. Any faux wood, false wood, anything that could maybe be recognizable as wood.
I want to say let's go to the Max on Central right now.
I would agree. Go to the Max right now.
I don't want to do this.
And
Let's just get to the episode and
Fine.
pretend like the podcast.
we got like
didn't
another
happen.
10 minutes. Find me a Max that has any wood, and I'm talking faux, I'm talking like
Gypsum covered crap.
glass wood, like glass that they just say is wood. Find me anything that describes wood in any way. Find me a Max that has any sort of wood, and I will drop every sort of anything I've ever said.
Do hickory sticks count as wood?
No, they do
You
not.
said
That's a chip. But find me a Max that has wood, and then I'll drop my argument. But I will say that 7-Elevens and Max have no difference in terms of like the actual building.
They're the same building.
The quality
with
of the
just
building.
a different logo.
Yes, it's the exact same.
Identical buildings.
I mean, they're basically the same.
They're very
in every way.
close. Yeah.
No, I would say.
Why bother going to one
Almost
over the other?
identical.
Like, you might as well walk into
Go
the
to
same
7-Eleven
building.
because there's better food. I would
Like,
say that.
But like, I mean, like,
It's better tasting.
like,
not better
they're
food in
basically
terms
the
of
same.
quality.
Max
Better
is a
tasting
7-Eleven clone. With like,
Max is
it's like it's the same, but like the food's not as good. So you might as well go to 7-Eleven because like they're basically the same thing, except the food isn't as good at the Max. So go to 7-Eleven because at least the food is good.
That's accurate.
Because you're getting the exact same experience if you walk into a Max, except for the food.
Better.
that's
Better 7-Eleven.
Yeah, certainly.
Except it's the exact
Say
same
7-Eleven
experience.
is better than Max.
Except for the food. I won't do it.
Well, then you're lying. But no. I'm trying to think of a good comparison.
Okay, here's a good one. And I don't know how much traveling you've done in the U.S.
None. Not even a single. If there's wood-covered Max in the U.S.,
No, there isn't. I'm
but
not
I
doing
have to
Max
say
anymore.
I have no experience.
I will say, but you should someday. You would be.
Go to the Max in the U.S.
No, not Max. There's no Max.
There's no Max
It's Canadian.
There's one Max in the U.S.
Probably somewhere
great.
in upper state New York. I'm not talking about
Covered in wood.
No, there's no wood. There's no Max. I'm just talking about now comparing convenience stores. I would like for you to experience some of the U.S. convenience stores.
They're so
just in general,
yeah.
regardless of whether 7-Eleven.
The booze would blow my mind.
That's not even that it's booze. Like
That
the,
would
the
blow my
selection above and beyond what we have in Canada is like what we have for an entire chip aisle. They have for different flavored Doritos, and it's like what we have for an entire candy rack is like all the different flavors of Kit Kats that they contain. And they
They
can
don't
be
have Kit Kats, do they?
yeah, Kit. That's a bad example. Sorry, like Meteor Bar. I don't know what the fuck they have.
American candy just is. I
They
don't
have
care
Kit
what anyone
Kat.
says.
Oh yeah, they have
says.
Kit Kat. They
do
don't
have
have
Kit Kat?
Coffee Crisp.
They don't have coffee.
don't have
crisp.
Coffee Crisp.
No, they don't have
They don't have
coffee crisp.
Smarties
They don't have
either.
Big Turk. They don't have Smarties. They don't have.
Do they have Kit Kat, are you sure?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. They do.
Okay.
It seems too big to be Yeah, fuck. They do give me a break on Family Guy.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I think Canadian candy is way better.
The different varieties are better, but the different brands are better, but the variety of US is way better. Like,
yeah, they have way more options.
it's like
for
you could there's like literally 30 different kinds of Snickers.
I will say this. I think this is one thing that goes from country to country. And I don't have a lot to back this up with, but I'll just say, like, I think every country has its amazing candy that you can't find anywhere else. And
it's crazy
I'll
that
say
break
this
markets.
solely based on South Africa, and that it's like there's the chips that I like. There's a type of chips called knickknacks that are still the best. They're like the crunchy Cheetos, but they're still the best crunchy Cheeto I've ever had, and I can't find them anywhere else. And I'll still say like the best one is in South Africa, and like I think there's certain things that every country has that one thing that you're just like, that's my
awesome.
favorite one.
But I'm talking about is variety. Like, you don't get tired. It's like if you love
in Canada, you can have everything in 2 days.
That's like if you love Doritos and live in the US, you can eat Doritos as your only snack food forever because there's 900 different types of Doritos, and by the time you're a third way through, they've developed another 30.
that's like Japan with Kit Kats. Japan has like crazy variety. Kit Kats and Fanta. They have like how many different varieties of Fanta.
Like bamboo Fanta and tambourine flavored Fanta.
In South Africa, they had or not South Africa. Well, actually, I think it is in South Africa too. But they had pineapple Fanta in Africa.
Was it so good?
So good.
That's Irish whiskey.
What did we mix with this?
Gin.
Where's the gin?
The gin's under your.
We're basically done the episode.
We're very close. Yeah. Where's my gin? Where's the gin?
You're looking right at the gin.
Nope. 7-Eleven's the same as Max, except not as good.
No, that's not what I said.
Coke is
7-Eleven is better.
Coke
than
is
Max.
basically Pepsi. I mean, they're identical.
You're just not now. You're just.
We've delved into fantasy.
Let's all.
No to whatever you're gonna say.
Let's all sing the Cadbury Cream Egg song.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Thank you for watching the Prehistoric podcast.
Dude, we're not at the end yet.
Well, the last episode ran a bit long.
That does not mean that the next episode gets to run short.
Brad's way too important for us. He doesn't like being here. So.
No, I love being here. We get a little crazy at the end of these 3-hour ones.
That's what it's
He
supposed
just
to
said
be.
Coke is comparable to Pepsi, which is a ridiculous thing to say.
That's what I said. I never said that you were being ridiculous.
No, you said we.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you never said anything ridiculous. What you're saying.
All I said was like maybe Hitler was right. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I said.
So, why is 7-Eleven called 7-Eleven?
Because they're
I
open,
actually know this, but I can't think of it right now.
they're open 7 days a week.
I don't
11
know.
hours
I
a
was
day.
asking.
Oh, very new.
If
I have known.
If 7-Eleven is open 24/7, why do they have locks on the doors?
I worked at a fast gas, so it was 24 hours. That we actually didn't have the key for the door. He had no idea where it was.
Yeah.
And then they had to get the furnace fixed. They had to change the locks out.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be tough to change the lock.
They lost the keys. He's like, I've been working. I've owned this place for 9 years. I never locked the door. Like, why would I have the key? Never ever. Not Christmas Day. It's open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. At the fast gas on 20th and H, you can walk in any single time.
It'd be very tough to change the lockout on a door like that.
Yeah.
You probably have to change the whole fucking door. That's an awful sound that you're making.
Sounds like the pig from the Black Collar.
Okay. The company's first outlets were named Totem because the customers toted away their purchases. Some of the stores featured genuine Alaskan totem poles in front of the store. In 1946, the change name was changed to Totem from Totem to 7-Eleven.
Cultural appropriation.
To reflect the company's new extended hours, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week.
Okay.
In November of '99, the corporate name of the company in the U.S. changed the name from the Sutherland Corporation to 7-Eleven Inc.
It's not very interesting.
Founded in 1927.
No, not at all.
So 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's basically why.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
But now it's 24.
Let's talk about cultural appropriation and how bullshit that is.
Anyway, join us on the next episode.
We have time. We still have
We have 4 minutes.
Well, we won't get into cultural appropriation then, but
Thank you.
it is bullshit, and we'll talk about that later. Should white people who wear dreadlocks be persecuted because that's cultural appropriation? If you're not Mexican, should you be able to open a Mexican restaurant?
What's your definition of persecution?
What currently is happening on social media, like, you're a piece of shit, death threats.
Like people commenting, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, the myriad of things that happen on social media.
Like what are the myriad of things?
Like anything that has ever happened to someone on social media.
Like nothing physical.
No, nothing. Just being tried
Like
in the court of
being
tried in the court of public opinion.
People just commenting on a Facebook status, you're a piece of shit. Like that is
whatever led to Katy Perry having to sit down and like apologize for wearing. Like I'm not talking about like. I even think this is kind of bullshit, but I can see the argument. I'm not talking about like wearing like a Native American or like an indigenous like headdress as a costume. I'm talking about like a guy or these 2 girls who opened up a burrito restaurant being like shamed for culturally appropriating Mexican food.
And what? How are they shamed?
Like social media, people wrote bad reviews for their restaurant who'd never been there, calling them like racists and pieces of shit for doing
no,
this.
like violence or anything actually like.
Or probably in person, I would think as well. Like
I don't know.
Verbally.
I think
like actual violence though.
They weren't brought to harm. No, not physical harm.
Or their building wasn't broken, or no graffiti on their building.
I mean, like their business was probably harmed.
They probably felt threatened.
They felt threatened, and their business
through like social media, like in the same like
like
cyberbullying.
No, but I'm saying probably also like verbally in person.
Yeah, well, I don't know about I know I think they received death threats. They were called racists. Their business
through the internet.
Yeah, their business was like
not in person.
No, their business was harmed though, for sure. That's a physical result to this, though. Like they received a ton
I'm going
of
to go ahead and
reviews.
say that people who are that upset about it probably had some sort of in-person verbal confrontation.
Perhaps, I don't recall. They weren't physically harmed, though. You're right. Yeah, they weren't physically harmed.
Nobody touched them.
Or their business.
No.
Well, their business received
purely verbal.
Like
emotional.
nothing happened beyond the internet.
No, I'm not saying beyond the internet. I'm saying in person, they verbally were probably persecuted. I've said it like 4 times on. You keep saying on the internet, on the internet, on the internet.
I said twice.
3 times likely.
But I'm just saying, so they were persecuted beyond the internet. Like people actually
We're getting hypothetical now. Like I don't care. Like
Semantics.
Is it okay if they do it verbally or not?
Well, that is a distinction.
Okay, sure. We're saying yes, that did happen.
Well, if they were abused verbally, then that is not okay.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, I don't understand why that's not okay.
You could check out of the internet.
The internet is like whatever, but it's like if people are going up to your store and yelling fucking like you fucking suck up to your store, then it's like you are. That's different.
I would argue that in the age of people looking for a review on a place before they go,
those people are idiots.
Well, I don't like. I mean, people who look at reviews. I mean, I don't think it's asinine to look at a review before you go somewhere.
No, it's not asinine. I'm just saying it's like if that is the only thing if that is what you're judging a place on, then it's but
to say that 51-star reviews because you're a culture.
I'm saying it's like you can't judge. Like the internet is like Wild West.
Yeah,
like, the internet's got to be allowed to go. Whereas like
I agree. I'm just saying
you abuse people in person, like that's different.
Right, but we're not talking about whether that's good or not. We're talking about is the idea that this is cultural appropriation, is that even remotely sane? No, it's
They have a Mexican restaurant? That's it?
Yeah, they are white people who have a burrito restaurant. That is literally the extent of it. And they were called racists. They said they were appropriating Mexican culture for opening this restaurant.
I would definitely have to see what they were doing.
They literally had a burrito restaurant. That is it.
That's it? There's nothing else.
They had
no Mexican flags waving. They had no Mexican sayings on the walls. They had no Mexican politicians paintings.
Let's say
nothing else.
Let's say they did.
So what if
Isn't
they did?
Okay.
So what? It's like you don't.
I'm just saying, like maybe there is justification for that.
I don't think so. Even whatever. You're entitled to your opinion, but.
I don't know what my opinion is because I don't know all the facts.
The crux of the argument.
If they're just making burritos,
the crux of the
then
argument
they're totally
is,
fine.
Yes, like and they literally owned a Mexican restaurant, and they aren't Mexican. They cook Mexican food, but they're not Mexican.
And they said it. Did they say it was authentic?
I don't.
Well, you
know.
can make authentic Mexican cuisine.
You cannot because you're not Mexican.
No, but you can still prepare the food the same as somebody who's Mexican.
Well, it's not. Are you Mexican?
Everybody, thanks for joining us again on today's episode. Tomorrow,
I guess Prehistoric Productions. Say it. Say it.
It's like if
we're Mexican.
That's not.
I mean, we're appropriating caveman culture by using prehistoric as our name.
That's what he said.
Microaggressions. Watch out.
Okay, everybody. Then on the next episode, we will have a guest. So stay tuned for that. We've also got lots more exciting stuff coming up. Some very interesting guests that we actually haven't had on before. We're not joking anymore. Very interesting people. So I would definitely stay tuned. It's not just going to be the three of us arguing about Mexicans and Tom Cruise.
And lots of Grand Theft Auto nerd talk for sure.
Okay, so stay tuned. Thanks for checking us out. That's 3. We're a quarter of the way done. The 4th. 1 out of 4 for 4 out of 4. We're 1 out of 4 for 4 out of 4.